Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Global Energy Metals channel, giving investment exposure to the electrified future with battery metals. Joining us, the Chief Executive Officer, as always, Mitchell Smith. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much. Always good to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you back in this fascinating time with these geopolitical tensions, this overinflated market and commodities benefiting the most. Being in the exposure you have, I mean, you're exposed to cobalt, copper, all these kind of battery metals that are hitting all-time high prices right now. Do you want to just offer some insight on how you feel about this, maybe against the current stock price? Because clearly there's a big disconnect between the stock valuations and what's going on with the commodities and the underlying assets themselves. But any insights would be great.
Certainly, and you know, you hit it right there. There's such a disconnect right now in terms of these all-time highs that are being experienced with these commodities and these industrial materials that are really needed to shift the world to a low carbon future. And you know, I think there's a significant amount of underinvestment that is that's in the mining sector with respect to these materials. So you know, I think that there will be a trickle-down effect, and companies like Global Energy will see the benefit as we do move towards net zero and demand a significant amount of these battery metals.
100%. Now, last time we spoke, we kind of broke down the company a little bit. We talked a little bit about your past, but today I kind of want to more or less focus on those balance sheet kind of questions, because based on your last interim with 8.9 million in assets, just under $1 million in cash and only 465K in current liabilities, do you want to just give some insight on the current cash spend amongst these projects and just generally any insights that you feel relevant?
Yeah, so you know, something that's somewhat unique to a company of our size and what we're doing, especially with the portfolio that we have, is that we're working with other groups' balance sheets and advancing our project portfolio. So we've joint ventured and partnered up with a number of groups where we're seeing the exploration and development costs that are associated with the advancement of those projects being spent by our joint venture partners. We, of course, benefit from that, not only through seeing the projects advance, but also having equity ownership in those companies while maintaining some level of project ownership as well. And then on the internal side, you know, Global is really focused on the Nevada assets. Our funds that we have available to us now and that we are raising in a private placement right now are being earmarked to develop our Nevada-based assets.
That's great. Yeah, when we come back, maybe when that news wire hits, we'll discuss more about it. But I think it's also intriguing that you guys are incentivizing third parties, which kind of probably increases your margin rates a little bit better, I would imagine, as well. But bleeding a little bit farther to a broader scope picture from the cap structure, when we're talking insider ownership versus retail and institutional, can you kind of just give some insights on those shares outstanding?
Definitely. So 27 million and a half issued and outstanding. About 45% of the shares issued and outstanding are held by insiders, management, directors. A lot of those being escrowed through the sale of assets to third parties. And again, you know, we have a very aligned shareholder base. Very strong retail ownership, although we do have some institutional ownership that came through our last financing that we did.
That's great to hear. I appreciate those insights, and I'm sure the retail audience would appreciate this conversation today. But thanks so much for coming out, Mitchell. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for having us.
Always a pleasure. On that note, folks, as always, I pass the question off to you. Let us know what you think about the general commodities market, what's going on with Global Energy here in that comment section, and also consider subscribing, because as news comes down the wire, we will continue to update you here. But stay cool, stay awesome, and as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.